news breaks, turn to 89 WLS first to get the facts.
Congress has the power to impose that requirement on American citizens.
Striking down, however, the expansion of Medicaid.
This is big.
Having this go this way, I think the Republicans, and in particular the Tea Party, is going to be even more motivated to get out.
You can hear some of the reaction from those gathered on the steps of the Supreme Court.
My take is that if it's 6-3, Justice Roberts didn't have a choice.
Chicago's talk leader.
This is a surprise for a lot of people.
89 WLS.
$3.59, halfway mark. Jake Hartford with Anna DeVlantis.
Good to be here with you, Jake.
It's good to be anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going somewhere over the 4th and you're driving, will the gas prices go up? Will they go down? When we come back, we're going to find out. Phil Flynn is joining us. Ro gave me his secret celebrity number.
Woo!
We're going to get a hold of Phil and find out right here in 89 WS.
Nice.
One station making history every day. 89 WLS.
We are looking at neighborhood against neighborhood. We are looking against race against race.
There has been an accident at the Chernobyl atomic power station.
This is Bud Miller, WLS News.
A rupture in a tunnel under the Chicago River unleashed a flood into the basements of buildings throughout the loop.
Our 89th year. Chicago's talk leader. 89 WLS Chicago. A Cumulus station.
From ABC News, I'm Richard Cantu. A 10-figure settlement for a pharmaceutical giant in the biggest healthcare fraud settlement in U.S. history. GlaxoSmithKline will pay a total of $3 billion. $1 billion for marketing some of its drugs for uses for which they were not approved, and more, says Deputy Attorney General James Cole.
GSK will pay an additional $2 billion to resolve civil allegations that it caused false claims to be submitted to the federal health care programs for these and other drugs as a result of the company's illegal promotional practices and payments to physicians.
How low will it go? The Federal Energy Information Administration reporting another 8-cent drop in the national average price for regular unleaded gasoline, the average down to $3.36 a gallon now. Officials report 55% containment of the wildfire burning near Colorado Springs, but firefighting efforts across the western U.S. have lost one of their weapons. The military has grounded 7 C-130 aircraft that had been fighting fires after one crashed in South Dakota. Army National Guard Lieutenant Colonel Robert Carver.
There were casualties. There were lives lost. There were injuries. We're very grateful for the survivors, and our thoughts and prayers and our hearts go out to the families that have lost loved ones.
The plane carried a crew of 6. The slow process of restoring electric power to 2 million utility customers in the eastern U.S. after Friday's storms continues. ABC's Ann Compton in Washington says generators and chainsaws are in big demand and short supply.
Big box stores in this region have power and lots of customers with specific needs.
Oils, gas cans, chains for the chainsaws.
Corey Dennison says at the Lowe's that he manages in Virginia is getting generators in today straight from the factory. Ann Compton, ABC News, Washington.
Utility officials say it could be the end of the week before everybody gets their power back. On Wall Street at the close, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was down 9 points. The NASDAQ was up 16. You're listening to ABC News.
89 WLS News continues at 4:02. Good afternoon. I'm David Stewart, and here are the stories you're talking about on 89 WLS. Taxi drivers stayed out of their cabs this morning to protest new city regulations. A union claiming to represent 2,000 drivers says 80% of their members were out from 6 until 11 this morning. Bill Burns of the United Taxi Drivers says the union's calling for a fare increase.
We have done everything we could to avoid a strike. Now we find ourselves in this kind of situation, and the public is the one that's suffering.
But the head of the city's business affairs department says the taxi strike had little impact. Rosemary Crimble spoke with Jake Hartford and Anna DeVlantis on 89 WLS.
I called the airports this morning. The lots were all filled. We put a ton of cabs through all the chutes at O'Hare and at Midway, and there's cabs all over downtown. I think I passed up 5 of them I could have flagged and taken to work this morning.
Crimble says the new rules taking effect today make it easier for drivers to manage their lease costs and easier to get paid. And the former gas surcharge has now been built in, even though gas prices are dropping. The head of the ceasefire anti-gang group says an altered kind of marijuana that's hit the streets is helping to fuel the gang violence that's behind this year's increase in homicides. Tio Hardeman tells Jake Hartford and Anna DeVlantes on 89 WLS that this so-called lean or loud pot makes the user act on their violent impulses. Chicago police are resistant to the intervention of ceasefire, but Hardeman insists their relationship is good.
Right now, everybody has to put their differences to the side and get these homicides back down. For the first time in years, Chicago has made it to the front page of the New York Times as far as the increase in homicides. So that's a work in progress, but I feel pretty good. I believe that we're going to make Superintendent McCarthy a believer as far as the work we do at ceasefire.
The city's paying ceasefire $1 million to hire 40 so-called interrupters, former gang members who now work to stop violence. And not guilty is the plea from the NATO 3 today to charges that they plotted to use Molotov cocktails to attack several political targets during the May summit. Prosecutors revealed in court today that their evidence includes several secretly recorded conversations of the defendants. 89 WLS traffic and weather. First on the fives in 1 minute. 89 WLS news time 4:04.
Occupy update.
In celebration of our 89th year, 89 WLS presents the 89 WLS box office, giving you the chance to win tickets to an upcoming concert, show, or event. Listen every Thursday when the 89 WLS box office opens for your chance to win. This week's featured giveaway, tickets to see Tony Bennett on Saturday, August 18th at Ravinia. Tickets to Ravinia's 2012 season are on sale now. Listen all day Thursday for your chance to win. For complete details, go to WLSAM.com.
Your voice, your vote. Another big speech on the economy today from President Obama in Ohio. The president continues to say the economy is improving.
We are moving in a better direction.
But is the message getting across? ABC News White House correspondent Ann Compton.
Strategists like the legendary James Carville argue most Americans aren't feeling it.
They want to be reassured that he understands the depth of the problem and that he has a plan to deal with the deterioration of the middle class.
President Obama may say exactly that in a major campaign speech in Ohio, where the campaign says he will reframe his promises on the economy.
What's Mitt Romney expecting from President Obama's speech today?
His rhetoric will be soaring and eloquent, but I'd suggest to look at the record more than the words.
White House spokesman Jay Carney says Romney hasn't produced anything new.
There's no sort of alternative idea being proposed, unfortunately, by Republicans, and I think that is part of the debate that we'll have in the fall.
I'm Brad Wheelis, ABC News.
89 WLS. Traffic and weather first on the fives.
At 4:05, I'm Christy DeFiliaggi. Traffic busy on most of the expressways. Northbound Tri-State is all building between I-88 and 290. Southbound on I-57, it's heavy from Steger Road to Manhattan-Monee Road because of an accident in the left lane. An Itasca truck fire is Thorndale block between Prospect and Park Boulevard. Lake Villa, 83 southbound south of Grand, an accident. 8094 eastbound, bridge to southbound Ripples with construction. Inbound Edens, Lake Cook to the junction. That's going to take you about 30 minutes outbound to Lakewood Road 19, downtown out to O'Hare and the Kennedy. 30-minute ride, but inbound's 55 O'Hare in. Eisenhower's 38 minutes out to Thorndale from downtown, 44 in. 42 minutes on to Stevenson to 355. 37 in, and you're Ryan a half hour outbound, 22 in. And because of all the power outages, there might be some traffic signals not working. For example, in Elmhurst, lights are out through Elmhurst and Villa Park along 83 between North Avenue and 290. Traffic brought to you by Allstate. When it comes to guaranteeing your auto claim experience, only Allstate puts their money where their mouth is. Introducing claim satisfaction guarantee. Learn more, get a quote. Talk to an Allstate agent today. Are you in good hands? The 89 WLS Weather Channel forecast brought to you by Cabela's. Rated Cabela's for incredible savings during their 4th of July sale. Find them just off I-90 at Hoffman Estates and 8094 in Hammond, Indiana. Cabela's, world's foremost outfitter. Tonight's partly cloudy, low 76. Tomorrow partly cloudy, hot, high 96. It's 96 O'Hare, 88 at the lakefront. Next report at 4:15 on 89 WLS.
And get news on the hour, the half hour, and whenever it breaks with continuous coverage at WLSAM.com. For Jim Johnson, I'm David Stewart, 89 WLS News.
One station making history every day.
My sweet home, Chicago.
Now, Roe and Roeper.
89 WLS.
.7 past 4, Roe and Roeper show. Jake Hartford.
Anna DeVlantis here, and please tune in tomorrow morning and listen to me too at 7 on Fox Chicago News, 7 to 10. Our news actually begins at 4:30 in the morning, so it's a long show in the morning, but we always have fun.
If you can't have fun in the morning, when can you have fun?
When can you? Exactly the question, Jake. Thank you.
Hey, it's morning. Let's turn on Anna.
Right.
Let's watch Corey.
Right.
Yes.
We've got some grilling stuff going on tomorrow. We got all kinds of fun stuff in on the show, so check it out.
All right, right now we're going to talk to Phil Flynn, who's the Vice President Energy Analyst and General Market Analyst with PFGBEST.
There you go. Price Group now. Price Group is the name. How you doing, Jake and Anna?
Hey,
Good to hear
Phil.
from you guys.
Familiar person. Nice to see. Good. And is it good news right now for the gas, right? We're looking at good news.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I'm celebrating because this is the first time all year we've been below $4 a gallon in the Chicago area. So there's going to be a lot of people celebrating that fact. And it's very possible as a national average, we're going to see gasoline prices get below $3 a gallon. So, yeah, I think there's a lot to celebrate for this holiday weekend.
I'm paying $3.37 a gallon.
Yeah,
I'm out in the southwest suburbs. Why am I so lucky? That seems to be one of the areas where gas, I noticed, is always real cheap, either there or out in the Bensonville area.
It is. I think a lot has to do with the real estate where you're at, the taxes in that particular area, and they're a little bit cheaper when you get out there. A lot of it has to do, when you're downtown Chicago, you're going to hit with every tax there is. The state tax, the Cook County tax, the Chicago City tax, the Chicago gasoline. But once you get out into the suburbs, you're not hit all of those taxes, so it makes a substantial difference from what you're paying from one station to another. And the other thing, of course, that you've got to look at when you're talking about gasoline prices out in the suburbs is some of those outlying areas, you don't have to buy that Chicago gasoline, that special blend that's sold in the city, and that can save you as much as 30, 40 cents a gallon.
I drove down a few weeks ago. I drove down to Nashville, and you can just see where the gas prices were going. When I left Chicago, it was like $3.79. The cheapest in the area. As you hit Effingham, it was down, like $3.59. You got into Kentucky, and you were down to like about $3.40 something, and it was like $3.30 in Tennessee.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, there's so much of a difference. Jake, I'll tell you, here in Chicago, the summertime blends of gasoline that we have to sell in the big cities, they're so much more expensive than they are in other parts. Rural areas have a lot more flexibility when it comes to price because they can truck in their gasoline from one county to the next, where in Chicago, you really can't do that. You're down to 3 refineries, so that's good news. And the other rule of thumb is any place you don't want to be, Jake, the gas is probably going to be cheaper.
Any place you don't want to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, if you're closer to a refinery, it's going to be cheaper. If you're in a state, that there's not a heck of a lot going on. But taxes are a major part of what we're paying for gas in Chicago. When you look at, the state of Illinois, tax is one of the few taxes in the country where it has a variable rate. The higher the price of gasoline, the more you pay. And then you have the Chicago City tax, the Cook County tax. I mean, it really becomes very expensive. And these retailers, of course, are on some very expensive real estate. So, they're paying property taxes and everything else. You put it all together, we end up paying for it every time we fill up.
Now, you said something in your opening line there about $3 a gallon. I just want to revisit that again. You said you could see gas prices in the Chicago area go below $3.
Not in the Chicago area, national average.
National.
I think below the national. I'll tell you, in the Chicago area or the outlying areas, we're already very close. I wouldn't be surprised where Jake has a tendency to fill up, that'll see it below $3 a gallon, before the summer is out.
Wow.
In fact, I'll take it a step further. You want some news-breaking stuff? I'm going to go out on a limb and say that the high price you paid for gasoline in Chicago this year may be the highest price you pay for some time. I think we're going through a long-term cyclical change on gasoline prices, and those higher prices, we may not see that again. I mean, oil prices are a lot lower. The demand is changing in this country. We're producing the most oil since the 1960s. So really, we might not see the same type of dramatic price spikes like we saw this year and the year before.
I like the way that sounds.
Is that because the economy around the world is so bad?
That's part of it. The demand expectations in China and India have gone down pretty dramatically. And at the same time, we are, during this economic slowdown, it may take, 5 or 10 years to get back to that normal demand growth. And during that time period, the cars that we're going to be making are going to be a lot more fuel efficient. There's going to be alternative cars, more natural gas cars coming on the road. And you put it all together, we're probably seeing something similar that we saw in the 1970s, during the price shock. Prices went up to a certain level, everything collapsed, and then you rebuild. It took, maybe 30 years to get back up to that same demand level.
We've got one of our listeners who wants to ask you a question, Phil.
Sure.
Roger, you're on 89 WLS. Ask your question.
Good. Thanks for the opportunity. In Kendall County, specifically Yorkville, Oswego, just at 7 o'clock this morning, the gas went from $3.35 regular to $3.65. How can we say that the gas prices are going down when you see such volatility in the pricing?
Well, there's no doubt there has been volatility, and a lot of that has to do with what happened last Friday. We saw a big spike on the futures market. In fact, we had the biggest update in crude oil that we've seen, probably, one of the fourth biggest up moves of all time. And I guess we're talking about where gasoline prices were, say, 6 months ago. When prices were in that area, were probably closer to, $4 a gallon or $3.90 or $3.80. So you're going to see some volatility, but I can assure you this: the highs you're going to see are going to be lower, and the lows you're going to see are going to be lower. They're going to be trending down. That doesn't mean we won't see ups and downs in price spikes if there's a refinery outage or a pipeline outage, but the trend is definitely going to be lower.
All right. Thank you, Roger. And Phil, we're going to let you go.
All right, guys. Have a great day.
Hey,
Phil, are you taking advantage of the gas prices and traveling somewhere over the 4th?
Are you kidding me? I sure am. I'm going to go up to Wisconsin, but don't tell them I'm going up there because I speak pretty good Wisconsin. I can get them right in with the meeting.
Right.
And gas is always cheaper in Wisconsin.
It always is. It always is. It always is.
Thank you, Phil.
Good to talk to you, Phil.
Phil Flynn, energy analyst and general market analyst with the PFG BEST. 4:15, time for traffic right here in 89 WLS.
89 WLS. Traffic and weather first on the 5s.
At 4:15, I'm Christy DeFiliaggi. Traffic on the Stevenson outbound heavy because of an earlier accident. It's 45 minutes out to 355 from Lakeshore Drive. Inbound's 38 minutes. On the inbound Edens, Lake Hook to the junction, 36 minutes, 19 out to O'Hare from downtown on the Kennedy, 26 minutes, back in 50. On the Eisenhower, it's 38 minutes out to Thorndale from downtown, 44, and your Ryan, 28 out to 95th from the Circle Interchange, 22 on the inbound trip, and Elmhurst, 83, Elmhurst-Villa Park area, 83 backed up between North Avenue and 290. That's because the traffic lights are out because of power outages. And Itasca, Thorndale still closed between Prospect and Park because of an earlier truck fire. The 89 WLS Weather Channel forecast: partly cloudy tonight, low 76 tomorrow, partly cloudy, hot high 96. It's 96 at O'Hare, 88 at Lakefront. Next report at 4:25 on 89 WLS.
4:16, Jake Hartford, Anna Devlantis. We had a couple calls. So the gas price just went up. One said it went up 28 cents since yesterday. Another
in a day.
20 cents. And it could be they're getting ready for the 4th. People are traveling. So if you can find cheap gas, it's all around you. I was just on the one gas site where you can check prices, and the lowest price is $3.37. But it's quite a few areas though too.
That's a nice price. It's the lowest price I've seen in a long time.
Fill up.
Mm-hmm.
Get your gas, your red gas cans, and all that other stuff.
That's a good point though, Jake. It might be worth actually traveling a few miles to fill up before you head out on your 4th of July vacation, considering the amount of the range in prices in the Chicago area.
Do you ever fill up? You strike me as someone who doesn't go very far.
I don't go very far, but I take public transportation as well. I took the L down here, and I visit my family, friends in the suburbs, but I don't really fill up too much.
Bill, you're on 89 WLS.
Oh, good afternoon. I just want to let you guys know that you're doing a great job, even with Roe being gone. My wife and I just came back from Europe yesterday, and in Barcelona, gas was $1.70 a liter. So if you go ahead and multiply that by 4, gas is really cheap here.
Shoot,
and
you're not kidding.
It was even that expensive in Italy and also in France.
Well, they also have a lot of taxes there.
ton of taxes, and the cars there are so small. And I have never seen so many mopeds and scooters in my whole life.
You can see why. That makes sense. At $6 a gallon or whatever it is, $7.50.
And the only difference was when we were in Monte Carlo, right outside the casino. I don't think the people who can afford the Ferraris and Lamborghinis really worry about that, but that was strange.
Did you go to Cannes this year, Bill?
Actually, yes, we were. We went on a cruise that stopped at Cannes. We went all the way through the French Riviera. It was absolutely gorgeous.
Did you go to Petey's? It's a little shaved ice place. It's 2 blocks off the beaten path. Did you go there to Petey's and get the shaved ice?
No, we did not. We were on a cruise and we went on a whole bunch of different tours, but we didn't stop there.
Boy, they say if you go there and don't go to Petey's, you really haven't gone.
No, we didn't go there, but I guess we're going to have to do that, so it gives us an excuse to go back.
All right, thank you, Bill. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
George, you're on 89 WLS.
Hey, how are you guys?
Hey, George. Good.
Hey, I live over in the Peoria area, Peoria, Illinois, and I travel over to Bloomington every day for work. It was 3:29 when I left Peoria this morning, and I just filled up in Bloomington 307.9.
Wow.
Yeah.
307.
Take advantage of that. 307, and there's 2 stations I passed at Bloomington, 307 and one at 308 for regular gas.
And when you did fill up at 307, did you say the 4 magic words?
The 4 magic words being...
Thank you, President Obama.
Thank you, sir. Can I have another?
Did you do a little dance or something? You celebrate in some way, George? I mean, come on, that's a big deal, 307.
No big celebration, just hoping it stays there.
Right.
It goes a little lower.
Bye-bye, George.
Amen.
Yeah, where have we come where we're dancing for 307?
Right, I know. We've been hurting so long.
Bob, you're on 89 WLS.
Hi, Jake. Hey, I'll be willing to bet by tomorrow they raise it 20 cents a gallon.
You mean in time for the holiday?
Yeah. Oil's falling, but you still see this spike every so often. I'm out in McHenry County. For no apparent reason, it'll go up 20 cents, and then they'll back it off a penny or 2 a day.
Well, in that case, go out and buy today. Beat them at their own game.
Yeah, I'll be willing to bet it goes up tomorrow or Wednesday.
Well, see, if you buy it today and it goes up 20 cents tomorrow, you'll feel better.
Exactly.
And what will you say? What are those 4 words you'll say?
Thank you, Obama.
Thank you, President Obama. Thank you, Bob.
Yeah. No,
yeah, that's what you say. Oh, it's time for... I don't even know what it's time for, but it's time for it. It's 4:20 right here on 89 WLS.
89 WLS.
Leave it to the French to figure out how to satisfy a caffeine fix and drive to work at the same time. It's the Handpresso Auto, a new gadget that plugs into a car's cigarette lighter and brews up a cup of espresso to go. It's about the size of a flashlight. Add water, pop in a pot of espresso grounds, push a button, and voila, le café. The French are advised to pull over and park before brewing to stay safe going mobile.
Better watch what you say in the town of Middleborough, Massachusetts. Residents there have voted to impose a $20 fine on public profanity. The new proposal allows police officers to write tickets to potty-mouthed residents, just as they would for traffic stops. Opponents say it's a violation of free speech, but supporters insist they just want to do away with loud profanity. Either way, Middleborough residents may need to keep their wallets open and mouths shut.
Brain control technology is making remarkable advances. In scientific experiments, people who've been paralyzed for years are able to move or pick up small objects just by their thoughts. Tiny sensors implanted in their brains and signals to a computer, which gave commands to a robotic device to pick up and move things around. One paraplegic woman was even able to drink from a straw just by thinking about it. That's going mobile.
Your voice, your vote. Mitt Romney getting some mileage out of the president's comment that the private sector is fine. Romney told Florida voters the president is out of touch.
The president doesn't understand how his policies have made things so hard for the American people. It's finally time to have a president who's in touch with what's happening in America, and I am, and I'll bring back America's strength.
President Obama counters.
His ideas are just retreads of stuff that we have tried and that have failed.
The president asked voters to pay attention over the next 5 months. He says they won't see Republicans offer a single new idea. ABC's Ann Compton with more.
Don't be fooled by all this bold talk, Brad. Both presidential candidates have a lot of convincing to do to the voters who are not convinced that either one of them has the right answers on an economic recovery. The candidate who wins on that right now may be none of the above.
I'm Brad Wheelis, ABC News.
Garage sale, yard sale. You see them every weekend, and they're a great way to clear clutter and make some cash. But how do you have a successful sale? The folks at Organized Home Magazine have some advice. Putting up flyers around your neighborhood isn't enough. Take out an ad in the newspaper or post one online. Be sure to make your items look good. Give them the once-over with a duster or cleaner. And don't forget to stop in at the bank to have some small change on hand. Interested in adding a little nature to your home? Why not build a birdhouse and attract some beautiful native birds for your viewing pleasure? The perfect house is bird-specific, so do your research. An entrance hole must be snug to ensure predators can't get in. Put all houses on metal posts, not in trees or on wood posts. This will keep cats, raccoons, and other hunters away. And now's the time to hang that birdhouse in spring. It's nesting season.
This is Chicago's talk leader, 89 WLS.
When did the concept of self-reliance become a bad thing? You need to be careful. My concern is that none of the candidates really are able to articulate.
I listen to you.
Here's my point.
Religiously.
I'm concerned about my health care.
We've got to get spending under control in this country.
People need to start listening to the issue.
Chicago's talk leader, 89 WLS. 89 WLS. Traffic and weather first on the 5s.
At 425, I'm Christy Filiaggi. 8094 eastbound exit southbound Ripley closed because of work on Ripley. Lake Villa, southbound 83 still closed at Grand with an accident. Itasca, cleanup of an earlier truck fire as Thorndale blocked between Park Boulevard and Prospect Avenue. I-57 southbound Heavy Stager Road to Manhattan Money Road with a crash in the left lane. Inbound Edens from Lake Cook to the junction will take you about 28 minutes, 19 out. Out to O'Hare from downtown on the Kennedy, 25 minutes, back in 47. And Eisenhower about 38 out to Thorndale, 45 in. Stevenson's 40 either way between 355 and Lakeshore Drive. The Ryan, 24 minutes out to 95th from the Circle Interchange. Back in a 22-minute ride in Lombard, 22nd Street west of Myers, an accident. The 89 WS Weather Channel forecast sponsored in part by Four Seasons Heating and Air Conditioning. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 76. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, hot, high 96. It's 96 at O'Hare, 88 at the Lakefront Expert at 435 and 89 WS.
Think real estate in Manhattan or Washington, D.C. is expensive? Not compared to these places. Here are some of the most expensive real estate properties in the world, according to the Wall Street Journal. The priciest locale? Monaco, averaging over $5,000 per square foot. That means $1 million can get you a whopping 200 square feet. Cap Ferrat in the south of France. London and Hong Kong also top the list. New York City is a bargain at number 17. Most of us do it for the better part of our day, and it's killing us. Sitting. And now, another large study out of Australia links too much sitting to an increased risk of death. The study finds sitting for 11 or more hours a day leads to an increased risk of dying 40% over 4 years. Even worse, exercise didn't have an impact on the effects of sitting for long periods of time. So get out of the chair as much as possible. It just might save your life. We've all heard the phrase, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Well, you might want to think about replacing that apple with popcorn. A new study says a serving of popcorn packs more antioxidants than a day's worth of fruits and vegetables. That's because each kernel of popcorn contains 100% whole grains, a healthy food powerhouse. Alas, drenching your popcorn in butter and oil dilutes all those health benefits. So don't double dip on that movie theater popcorn.
Roe and Roeper, afternoons 2 to 6, 89 WLS.
Get everything you need to know before you get to work and some fun. Don, Wade, and Roma, the most positive, optimistic radio experience in the universe. Mornings 5 to 9 on Chicago's Talk Leader 89 WLS. Anna DeVlantis with Jake Hartford in for Roe and Roeper.
Nice to be here. Don't forget to check us out tomorrow morning, 4:30 to 10, Fox Chicago News. Little plug there. Sorry, Jake.
When you say check us out, you mean you out.
Well, me.
Not me out with you.
Well, that's right. That's right. Me, Corey McFerrin, Don Hasbrook, and Corey Chambers is the team in the morning. So just put in a little plug.
So them, not me.
Well, you can listen to you and watch us. Right? Does that work? Well, you won't be there in the morning.
Yes, it does. Christina, you watch, don't you?
Oh, every day.
Thank you, Christina. Thank you.
Love them. Love the team.
It is fun. We have a good time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the crazy show.
No, it's not crazy. It's not crazy, but we do have fun. Like tomorrow we'll be grilling out on the plaza, talking about July 4th cookouts. And, you know, we always have the news and the political stuff and everything going on across town.
Who came up with the idea to grill out?
Well, we always like to go outside whenever possible because it gets a little stuffy in the studio. So we're suggesting these things to our producers daily. And they don't always take us up on these, though, Jake.
Are you guys doing
Probably once a week? We push
charcoal
them.
Grill or gas grill?
I think it's gas tomorrow. Some Chicago chefs coming in to teach us some tips in advance of the holiday.
Like use real meat?
Like keep it at 40 degrees or cooler, you know, that kind of stuff. The important stuff. Don't make everybody sick at your barbecue.
By the way, if anybody has seen my grill, it's still missing after the storm Friday night. It's got an 89 on the side.
You are really worried about this.
Yes. I had to be here for 10 years to get that sucker. It's gone now in a flash.
Oh, is that some kind of employee rewards program?
It was 10 years ago, yes.
They don't have those things anymore?
No, they don't.
Darn it. I know how it is.
We come back. We're going to talk Sharks right here on 89 WLS.
At 4:30, I'm David Stewart with 89 WLS News. A legal dispute between Governor Quinn and his state workers union over raises is going to arbitration. That's where a judge sent the case today. The governor refused to pay those raises, saying that lawmakers hadn't given him enough money. The arbitrator upheld Quinn, but the union sued. And today the judge ordered Quinn to prove to the arbitrator that the state didn't have the money. 3 NATO protesters pleaded not guilty today to charges that they conspired to use Molotov cocktails to blow up political targets during the May summit. And in court today, prosecutors confirmed that they do have secret recordings of the 3 defendants. Family members of one of the crewmen on an Air National Guard plane that went down in South Dakota yesterday say they were told that he was killed in the crash, and only 2 crew members of the 6 firefighting crew members had actually survived. The Obama administration is moving toward decisions that would further cut the size of the U.S. nuclear arsenal, possibly to between 1,000 and 1,100 deployed warheads. This potential cuts reflect new thinking in the role of nuclear weapons in the age of terrorism. 89 WLS traffic and weather next. First on the 5s. 89 WLS News Time, 4:31.
From ABC News, Cybershake, I'm Stephen Portnoy. Is the new iPad too hot to handle? After this, living up to the hype of Apple's new CEO, the reviews of the new iPad have been great.
You gotta have an iPad in your hand.
But some new iPad users noticed when they held it in their hands, it got hot. Some people complained online, and Consumer Reports followed up. Researchers tested the tablet using a thermal imaging camera. When running an action game, Infinity Blade 2, while it's plugged in, the new iPad heats up to 116 degrees. Consumer Reports electronics editor Paul Reynolds.
It's running about a dozen degrees warmer when running a pretty sophisticated game, something that really challenges the processor.
Apple says the new iPad operates well within its thermal specifications, and Reynolds says it's not too hot.
You may need to adjust your hands, but this is not going to be a safety hazard.
With Cybershake, Stephen Portnoy, ABC News.
It's boom time for American cities. The Census Bureau says more Americans are living in cities now than a decade ago. In fact, in 2010, 80.7% of Americans lived in urban areas. Charlotte, North Carolina grew by more than 50%. Despite its sprawling image, 95% of people in California lived in urban areas, making it the most urban state. Still, New York City and Newark, New Jersey are the most populous cities. The eyes may be the windows to the soul, but researchers at the University of Kansas have found that shoes are a pretty good predictor of personality. By examining the cost, color, and condition of shoes, participants accurately guessed 90% of a stranger's personal characteristics. Seeing only their shoes, participants predicted the age, gender, income level, and political affiliation of the owner. So what are your shoes saying about you?
Unfortunately, heading to the beach is not at the forefront of Americans' minds this summer, but energy efficiency is. In a new poll about what Americans are looking for in the summer months, lower energy costs ranked higher than vacation planning or scoring the latest and greatest gadgets. 9 out of 10 people said they had taken action in the last year to save on energy, saying it was more important to make their homes more efficient than to have that weekend getaway.
Golf balls have dimples. That reduces drag when they go sailing down the fairway. Now Nike has adapted the technique as a high-tech adornment for track suits at the London Summer Olympics. It's a snug fitting outfit, much like Superman wears, called the Pro Turbo Speed. And that's what athletes hope the dimpled tracksuits give them. Speed, lots of it, for Olympic class going mobile.
Earn $100,000 to $200,000 a year or more from home. You know, the internet is full of companies promising to make you rich, but in the end, only their company gets rich. IncomeAtHome55.com is different. So different. They're one of the few work-from-home companies endorsed by top radio hosts around the country. For over 10 years, they've been training listeners how to generate quit-your-job sort of income from their kitchen table. Once you get rolling, it can pay you for years and years to come. If you dream of working from home, this is the way. First, they train you. Then they help set you up with your own business website and show you how to advertise. Then your income can start rolling as your business expands. No selling soap. No cold calling. No matter your age or education, you can do this. They're even giving away $1,000 to someone this year just for checking them out. Visit IncomeAtHome55.com. 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 Results not average. Visit the website to see the results you can expect.
89 WLS. Traffic and weather first on the 5s.
At 4:35, I'm Christina Filiaggi in West Chicago. And Itasca, that is. There's cleanup of an earlier truck fire at Thorndale blocking Park Boulevard and Prospect Avenue and Lake Villa. 83 southbound south of Grand closed because of an accident. Tri-State southbound heavy I-90 to the Bensonville Bridge. Northbound backing up I-88 to 290. In Lombard, 22nd Street west of Myers Road, an accident. Travel time from O'Hare to downtown on the Kennedy, 48 minutes, 25 outbound, 35 from Lake Hook to the junction on the Edens, 19 out to Lake Hook Road. Eisenhower travel time to Thorndale, 38 minutes, 43 in. The Stevenson, 40 out to 355, 37 in. And near Ryan, 26 minutes to get out to 95th from the Circle Interchange. Inbound time is 20 minutes. Traffic brought to you by Indianapolis Convention and Visitors Association. The Civil War comes alive at Conner Prairie Interactive History Park in Indianapolis. Witness a raid by Confederate soldiers and feel the patriotism of town residents defending their homes. Plan your trip at visitindy.com. The 89 WS Weather Channel forecast. Partly cloudy night, low 76. Partly cloudy tomorrow, hot high 96. For the 4th of July, Wednesday, chance of showers and storms, high 98. It's 96 at O'Hare, 88 at the Lakefront Expo, 445 at 89 WLS.
Get the news on the hour, the half hour, and whenever it breaks with continuous coverage at WLSAM.com. For Jim Johnson, I'm David Stewart, 89 WLS News.
Tomorrow morning with Bruce Wolf and John Cass, in for Dan Proft.
Rahm Emanuel is taking his fight to the parking meter company.
If you need some extra muscle, we're available. That's tomorrow morning at 9 on 89 WLS.
4:37. The Roe and Roeper Show. I'm Jake Hartford.
And I'm Anna Devontis, filling in today. Roe and Roeper out for the week, enjoying themselves somewhere spectacular, I'm sure.
Wherever they are, I wonder if they're having shark fin soup.
If they're in Asia or on the West Coast, it's possible.
I don't know what world I live in.
You don't come across it too much, Jake?
No, I don't. Last time I ordered pizza, we went wild and had pepperoni. We didn't have shark fin on the pizza.
Go nuts. Have you ever had it?
No.
Never seen it on a menu?
No, never seen it, never heard of it. But all of a sudden, I understand it's banned now in Illinois thanks to Governor Quinn.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I actually understand a little too much about this particular subject. Because I pretty much lived at the Shedd Aquarium for a couple of months while I was doing a documentary about sharks. And so I was swimming with the sharks in the Wild Reef exhibit and doing lots of stuff, learning about sharks. And here's the worst part about the shark fin soup. Okay. So we understand that if you kill a shark and you eat it, and, that's the way it works when you're on the top of the food chain. But the way it's done, shark fins are harvested. Tens of millions of sharks are literally pulled out of the ocean. They lop off their fin, because that's the most valuable part. And then they throw the shark back in the ocean to sort of die this slow death. So it's sort of like they don't use the entire shark, they just lop off the fin. And that's what I think a lot of people have a problem with.
So that they should use the rest of the shark, for shark skin suits?
Or have a more humane way of processing these animals, because a lot of sharks need to swim in order to breathe. And so if you lop off basically they just sink to the bottom of the ocean and they sit there and die over the period of days and days and days.
And we know how charitable sharks are.
Well, sharks are the garbage disposal of the ecosystem. They're needed. They pick up the sick and dying fish, and without them, we'd be in trouble, frankly, because all the sick and dying fish would eat up the food supply, and you don't want that. This is nature's way of taking care of the ecosystem. They have a very valuable role. I know there's like 3 species out of the 300 species of sharks. 5 species or 10 known to attack man, but the rest of them don't. The rest of them are actually afraid of you.
You sound like you're in the pocket of Big Shark.
Now, I just have to say, quite not for a Midwestern girl in Chicago. The folks at the Shed have educated me over time, and I actually don't believe that shark fin soup is done in the correct way. I think there is a problem, and the problem really isn't in Illinois, because as you say, Jake, a lot of people here don't really eat it, but what they're saying is...
Does the governor realize that's carp that they're using? There is no sharks in the lake. That's carp.
The Asian carp. Maybe they should substitute it with Asian carp. Then we'd all be so happy. Lop those guys off, right? And just put them in soup everywhere. But this is apparently, I didn't know this, but the governor was saying in his statement today that the Midwest, the Chicago is sort of the network for distributing these shark fins elsewhere.
Wow.
So they're seen on the coastlines, but in the Midwest, we are the port of distribution.
There is so much Leslie Stahl in you right now.
I could just shut up, but I have to tell you, after spending so much time at the Shed, these are the kinds of things they'll educate you for. So they're behind the Shed Aquarium president and CEO Ted Beatty was out there today with the governor talking about this very issue as he signed it into law yesterday. I'm sorry.
I didn't realize it was that big an issue.
Well, it might, in the Midwest, it may not be. We're one of many, many states now to adopt a ban. And cities, actually, some cities have taken upon themselves to do this. But it is a little bit like the foie gras argument. I know there will be people out there who say, well, don't tell me what to eat. I should be able to eat whatever I want, even if others perceive it as cruel or bad.
I was watching 60 Minutes last night. I normally don't watch it, and I don't know why I stopped on CBS. And Leslie Stahl was doing a piece on truffles. Not the chocolate truffles, the other truffles. And apparently this was a piece that was on in January. So people may have seen it back then, or they saw it last night.
Right.
And what got my attention was, this is a fungus that grows in the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Truffles. And she started with that the truffle production is down because of climate change. When I hear stuff like that, that always gets my attention. So I'm listing what's important in her world. Because of climate change, there aren't as many truffles coming out of the ground. Now, when the way they find truffles, they have dogs. They used to have pigs finding truffles. Now they have dogs finding them because they're underground, and you can't grow truffles.
You can't.
No, you can't. So, and they're big in the French and Italian areas, right? The United States has tried, but they just can't do it. So now, because the truffle production is down because of climate change, on the black market, the mob has gotten involved.
Oh my goodness!
And they're doing deals with truffles like it was drugs. There's more money in truffles than in cocaine, I think.
I think probably are more expensive. They say $350 to $500 a pound.
Yeah, it's the most expensive food in the world. So they had this guy, this renowned chef from France or wherever he was, and he goes through 5 tons of it a year. And he knows about the black market, but he says if he talks, they would cut his throat.
Ooh.
All right? So now you got that going for you. So you got climate change, you've got the the truffles aren't being, they're rare, so the mob is involved. Now you bring in the Chinese. The Chinese have knockoff truffles.
Knockoff truffles. So what are those? Like mushrooms disguised as truffles?
It's imitation. It's imitation. Whatever. And what they're doing, like you do with cocaine, I'm told.
You've heard. Excuse me.
Yeah. If you have you don't have the 100% pure. You add something to it to stretch it out. Well, they're doing that with truffles. Mm-hmm. They're taking the Chinese stuff and they're cutting it into the good French stuff. And they had some guy in France who sells to the United States. On the can, it says product of France. But if you look at the ingredients, they have it in Latin or something, which means Chinese truffles.
Oh.
And they went to him and they said, Leslie, because she's very upset about this, because this is what's important in her world. What about this? It says product of France. He says, yes, we can it here. So it is a product of France, even though it's
from China?
From China.
Boy, Chinese get into everything.
But that's in Leslie Stahl's world. There's a truffle crisis. 444, back after this in 89 WLS.
89 WLS.
When it comes to remodeling the home, the most common room to get a facelift is the bathroom. In the last 2 years, bath remodels have risen 17%, according to a survey by the National Association of Home Builders. And a lot of those remodels are about downsizing. Home builders say more and more of their clients are asking them to remove big whirlpool or jacuzzi tubs, a trend that's about reducing energy costs, according to the American Institute of Architects.
The new most expensive city in the world is Tokyo. According to the Mercer Cost of Living Survey, Asian cities dominated the list with Tokyo on top. Tel Aviv was the only city from the Middle East to make it, and Moscow remains the most expensive European city, ranking at number 4. 20 African cities also made the list, including Angola, the number 2 ranking. And in the U.S., only one city made it into the top 50, New York City, at 33rd.
89 WLS. Traffic and weather first on the 5s.
445, I'm Christina Filiaggi. Traffic on the inbound Edens running at 28 minutes from Lake Cook Road to the junction, just 19 minutes outbound. The Kennedy from downtown to O'Hare, 25 minutes inbound, 48-minute ride. Eisenhower to get out to Thorndale from downtown will take you 38 minutes, 43 in, and it's a 42-minute ride on the Stevenson to 355 from Lakeshore Drive inbounds, 37. On the Dan Ryan out to 95th and the Circle Interchange, 26 minutes coming back in, a 20-minute ride. And keep in mind, because of the power outages, there are some traffic signals are out or flashing red, especially in the Elmhurst area, Villa Park area on North Avenue. The 89 WS Weather Channel forecast, tonight partly cloudy, 20% chance of showers and storms early, low 76, tomorrow partly cloudy, very hot, high 96, it's 96 at O'Hare, 88 at Lakefront, next report at 4:55 at 89 WS.
Let's check the markets now. The Wall Street Journal reports, and here's Bruce Vail.
A weak manufacturing report weighed on the market early today, but stocks were mixed at the close of trading. The Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 8 points to 12,871. The Nasdaq Composite gained 16, and the S&P 500 rose 3 points. The Institute for Supply Management said the manufacturing sector contracted in June for the first time since 2009. Stocks in the growth-sensitive industrial and materials sectors were among today's biggest decliners. Caterpillar shares fell 1.5%. Boeing was down 1.5% as well. I'm Bruce Vail at the Wall Street Journal for 89 WLS.
Attention homeowners, interest rates in today's unstable market are extremely volatile. Why risk your chance on saving hundreds and possibly thousands of dollars of interest on your loan? Call Network Capital Funding today while they're able to offer you a 30-year fixed rate of only 3.375% with an APR of 3.479%. Call 800-700-8068 and lock in this rate today. Don't wait until rates rise and it's too late. Call now, 800-700-8068. Network Capital is an A-plus Better Business Bureau rated national direct lender and can close your loan in as little as 2 weeks. Customer service is second to none. Experience it for yourself. Call 800-700-8068 and lock in your fixed rate of only 3.375% with a 3.479% APR on a 30-year fixed. You heard right, a 30-year fixed rate of only 3.375% with an APR of 3.479%. Remember, rates change daily, so call now, 800-700-8068. Their mortgage specialists are ready to assist you. Call 800-700-8068 today.
Subject to credit approval. An equal housing lender. NMLS UIN 11712.
Your voice, your vote. Mitt Romney getting some mileage out of the president's comment that the private sector is fine. Romney told Florida voters the president is out of touch.
The president doesn't understand how his policies have made things so hard for the American people. It's finally time to have a president who's in touch with what's happening in America, and I am, and I'll bring back America's strength.
President Obama counters.
His ideas are just retreads of stuff that we have tried and that have failed.
The president asked voters to pay attention over the next 5 months. He says they won't see Republicans offer a single new idea. ABC's Ann Compton with more.
Don't be fooled by all this bold talk, Brad. Both presidential candidates have a lot of convincing to do to the voters who are not convinced that either one of them has the right answers on an economic recovery. The candidate who wins on that right now may be none of the above.
I'm Brad Wheelis, ABC News.
Brain control technology is making remarkable advances. In scientific experiments, people who've been paralyzed for years are able to move or pick up small objects just by their thoughts. Tiny sensors implanted in their brains sent signals to a computer, which gave commands to a robotic device to pick up and move things around. One paraplegic woman was even able to drink from a straw just by thinking about it. That's going mobile.
On your way to work and on your way home, get traffic and weather first on the 5s when you need it most. 89 WLS.
.449, Roe and Roeper. It's a Monday afternoon. Jake Hartford and Anna Devlantis in for the vacation in Roe and Roeper. Truffles.
So your point is there are far bigger things to worry about in the world than finding truffles.
I kept thinking about, gosh, the unemployment's bad. People are worried where their next meal's coming from, and they're telling me about some place in New York has a $150 truffle hamburger. I'm sorry.
It's not something that crosses the mind too often.
But that's 60 Minutes. That's why I don't watch 60 Minutes, I guess. Until they bring Andy Rooney back, then I'll watch. Speaking of watching things, I didn't realize there's a John Wayne Gacy play in Chicago. I was reading the Chicago Tribune has a theater review. It's called the Gacy Play. It's at the Sideshow Theater Company at Theater Wit, which is a 1200 West on Belmont, and it runs through the 29th of July. And they say it doesn't lack. It doesn't deliver not excitement, but it's just kind of, they thought it'd be more, I don't know, compelling. Those are my own words of the review I read.
Yeah, they said that they're trying to delve even deeper into the mind of one of America's most notorious killers, and that's what
he was like. Gacy was like the guy next door. He was like the guy you would meet at the neighborhood tavern.
Right. Not think anything was wrong.
Now, I talked to him a lot before they killed him, executed him, and he really thought he was getting out. He was in his own world, but he had that certain, I don't want to say charm, I don't want to say charisma, but he had the everyman type of way about him, where I could see he could, con kids into doing what he did.
Did you ever get any kind of a feeling of underlying creepiness as you talked with him? I mean, you're not a kid; you have a little more life experience.
Once he was gonna send something to the house, and he said, it's okay to give me the address. You can tell your wife I'm not coming over for dinner. He had a little bit of that in him.
Ooh, a little too personal.
Yeah, where he would just kind of, but he was executed in May of '94, and like in March, when the Cubs were in spring training, he was talking about how the Cubs were going to do that year. Like he was going to be around to see them,
right?
To see them go for the pennant. I'm like, no.
Yeah,
I know which way the governor's going, and the governor's not saying stop the execution. So, May, whatever, their first part of May, whatever day was, I said that's your day, and it was his day. Yeah, he just, and that's how he played the clown.
Right, and that's the thing. Anybody who grew up in Chicago, I don't know. I mean, you just never can look at a clown the same way after kind of living through that whole story.
Yeah, he gave clowns a bad name.
He did. Gave a lot of people a bad name. But
well, look how close he got to Jimmy Carter's wife.
Yeah.
Remember the picture of him and
right.
Hi, my
Mrs.
name is
Carter?
April Hernandez Castillo. I'm
He
an
was a
actor,
precinct
SAG
captain?
nominee, activist,
Personable. You have to be to do that.
Sure.
Stuff.
People person.
I was
Look
in
at-
the
look at
movie
Jerry
Freedom Riders
Sandusky.
with Hilary Swank.
I'm
I
not
just
saying he's a Gacy
starred
killer,
in a guest starring
but look
role
how
on Person of Interest with Jim Caviezel.
he conned the people around him. Look what he was doing with the
Also a SAG
kids,
nominee for working
and got
on
away with it
Dexter.
because the people around him liked
Being an
him.
actor,
Apparently liked him
so
enough where they
important.
weren't going to investigate
And it's-
and turn him in.
It's funny because in my family we all
Seem
have great
trustworthy.
skin, thank God, and I try to stay out the sun. And I usually just wash my face.
That's
with
why he
cold
went
water
undetected
and
for so
just
long,
very
right?
simple, but
nobody
as you
knew,
get
nobody
older,
suspected
you realize
it.
things.
But this play, I guess they're not. The Tribune's
so
not
you have
giving
to
it
try
great
new
review.
products and
it's
just
for a
staying
month
out the
engagement
sun.
right now,
So
and I guess
skincare
we'll see
is
how
very,
it goes.
very important for me. It's just
It is what it
makes
is.
me feel beautiful when my skin is clean.
Right.
I mean,
They
you
are
are starting
so
out with John Wayne
amazing.
Gacy.
They're
A lot of
so
people.
helpful. They are just,
you had the Brian Dennehy movie
They
where
guide
he
you
played
through
him.
everything. They don't leave you wondering what's next.
And
They have everything.
There is an
set out for you,
likability
and
factor
it's
to the
very
guy because he killed 30-some kids
Mm-hmm.
and young men.
I absolutely love.
So what are you going to see?
I guess we do have sort of, I don't know, is there fascination with serial killers? I mean, you see so many shows about it, so many crime shows, so many of these shows that delve into the lives of these people.
Something on your body, you want to
there
know
is a
that
fascination.
you're coming to a place where people are.
So you're going?
I'm not going. I have a lot of other things. I want to see Spider-Man that debuts, I think, tomorrow. I have lots of, I haven't even seen Hunger Games yet. I mean, there's a lot on my list as a new mom that I have not been able to see.
Hunger Games, the Jeffrey Dahmer story.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
All right, we have to break here. It's the Roe and Roper Show. Need to tell you that right here on 89 WLS.
89 WLS. Traffic and weather first on the fives.
At 4:55, I'm Christy DeFiliaggi. Traffic continues to build on the expressways as well as the tollways. Southbound Tri-State Heavy between I-90 at the Bensonville Bridge, northbound back up I-88 to 290. Southbound I-57 at the Manhattan-Monee Road, there's an accident. Inbound Eden's 32 minutes late, quick to the junction, 19 out. It's just 25 minutes out to O'Hare from downtown on the Kennedy, 48 in. Eisenhower's 38 out to Thorndale, 45 in, and a 45-minute ride on to Stevenson from Lakeshore Drive to 355, back in at 37. You're Ryan, 24 out, 19 in. Traffic brought to you by Chevrolet. Distance matters. Chevy has 10 models offering an EP estimated 30 highway miles per gallon or better, like the 42 MPG Highway Cruise Eco. If you want to save more at the pump, stop by and see your local Chevy dealer today. The 89 WS Weather Channel forecast. Partly cloudy tonight, chance of showers and thunderstorms early, low 76. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, hot high 96. It's 96 at O'Hare, 88 Lakefront. Next report at 5:05 on 89 WS.
Hey, buddy, I think this red sock was meant for your dark load.
Not again. Thanks, talking Super 8 sign.
Looks like you need an escape. Pow!
Whoa, great seats.
Hot dogs.
Hey, over here.